The international charity Doctors Without Borders has dismissed American explanations for an attack on an Afghan hospital over the weekend. The bombing of the hospital in Kunduz left at least 22 people dead. The group says the U.S. knew exactly what it was striking. Meanwhile, a top military official testifying in Washington has admitted the strike was a mistake, but an unintentional one. Roy Rottenberg has more.
Officials from Doctors Without Borders say the American strike bears the hallmarks of a war crime, and they said they would need proof to believe it was anything else. A number of their medics were killed in the attack, despite, they say, the U.S. knowing the facility was a hospital. In Washington, the top American commander for international forces in Afghanistan told U.S. senators protocol was followed.
To be clear, the decision to provide aerial fires was a U.S. decision made within the U.S. chain of command. A hospital was mistakenly struck. We would never intentionally target a protected medical facility.
The Pentagon has launched a probe into the attack. The White House says the U.S. Justice Department will run its own investigation.
The President also has the expectation that steps will be taken to try to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. And I also understand from General Campbell's testimony today that he has already tasked his team to conduct a review and to carry out retraining where necessary.
But representatives from the international aid group say they refuse to buy into the defense.
Claiming that they were targeting fighters is not proven by the facts. So this claim is ridiculous. Our staff has heard no fighting coming from the compound.
The group, also known by its French acronym MSF, has accused the U.S. of violating international safeguards meant to protect hospitals.
If these conventions are no longer recognized by the big warring parties, we have a major issue on our mere existence and the action that we do. And not only MSF, but all humanitarian actions. That's why this inquiry is fundamental, to have an independent look at what happened, because the fundament of humanitarian action have been attacked.
General Campbell says that the attack was requested by and coordinated with Afghan forces who were fighting Taliban elements in the city of Kunduz. But details of why they were attacked and who was targeted remain scant. The U.S. says it will wait for the results of a number of inquiries before drawing any further conclusions. Roy Rottenberg, CCTV in Washington.
So let's also go to Hague in the Netherlands. We have Dr. Lyal Sunga, who is the head of the Rule of Law program at the Hague Institute for Global Justice. Dr. Sunga, welcome to our program. My question for you is very clear. Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, are saying this is exactly the war crime. Clearly a war crime. From your perspective, is it? What kind of investigation is actually needed?
Well, you know, for sure it's a violation of the Geneva Conventions, first of all. Under the Geneva Conventions, certain acts, certain violations qualify as grave breaches of the Geneva Conventions, which basically comes out to, or equates to crimes under international law. It's early days to kind of say whether this is a war crime or not, but I think MSF is on solid grounds to certainly suspect that it might be, and that an independent and impartial investigation would be useful. Whether the United States military courts should do that, MSF has taken issue with that, and they have taken the view that a U.S. military investigation, or NATO or U.S. Afghan investigations would not satisfy people's expectations for at least the appearance of independence and impartiality, simply because the party would in some way be investigating its own possible responsibility. Now, under the Geneva Conventions, it is the expectation that the high contracting parties do investigate their own soldiers and commanders and try to see where the fault lies. and also to investigate whether there is criminal responsibility. So that is the setup of the Geneva Conventions. But, and I should add that you know, the United States has a very well-developed judiciary and a very strong jurisprudence, and has carried out war crimes tribunals before successfully. But at the same time, it is always difficult to prosecute one's own. And
whether we can conclude that it is being done on purpose or not, it has to do with the investigation. Once again, I need to come back to you, Dr. Sunga in The Hague. We have seen evidences coming from Médecins Sans Frontières, and they want to bring this up to the International Criminal Court about accusing this as a war crime. What is the likely procedure? What the likely procedure should be at this moment? And do we have any previous case studies that could help us to bring some light to investigations like this case?
Well, first of all, I want to make clear that one kind of investigation does not preclude the others. So I think it's important that the U.S. and the Afghans investigate, and NATO and the Justice Department. So those three investigations should continue. But that does not preclude, for example, the International Humanitarian Fact-Finding Commission, which, although it's never been used, I think would be a very good idea to use it. And that is run by the International Committee of the Red Cross. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the United States to show that it has nothing to hide. It's a mistake. They said it's a mistake, and not that there was any intention, and that they want a full and frank and impartial inquiry. So I think you know it's an opportunity for the United States to show that it has all the goodwill and that it respects the international rule of law and the Geneva Conventions, which it has a good record in general of doing that. But on this particular instance, obviously something went wrong, seriously wrong, and it raises a number of questions. For example, why was the United States taking instructions, if that's what it was, from the Afghan authorities, and why after the MSF were apparently phoning Washington and Kabul, the military authorities, saying that you're bombing our hospital and that there are no combatants here, why did the attacks continue? And apparently, according to MSF, the United States forces had clear GPS coordinates and should have known better. And now, this doesn't go to intention. I think Mr. Eland is quite right that they don't gain anything from this. It's highly embarrassing. Right. But something's gone wrong in the command and control.
I have your opinion. From now on, the investigation likely to proceed within the United States military and also from outside as well. What kind of time frame should we really look at? Without a time frame, are we going to really get any result?
Well, it's going to take as long as it takes to get the facts, but there's a lot of information already out there. There's fairly clear information. The United States has already admitted that it did attack the hospital, that it was a mistake, and I think with all cooperation of all parties, I think it could be done sooner rather than later. That's what I would say about time frame.
I see. Lyal Sunga, Ivan Eland, and
Lyal
also...
Sunga, yeah, that's it.
All right, and Mr. Teng Jinxuan. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. This is a critical issue, of course, facing the international community. Thank you very much.